In Episode 9, Shawnee Forest Whispers, Voices from the Deep Woods, we step into the shadowed ridges and hollows of Adams and Scioto County, where the Appalachian Plateau falls toward the Ohio River, and the forest holds stories older than the trails themselves. Before we enter Shawnee, we need to understand how it connects to Serpent Mound. The Great Serpent sits on the same ancient plateau that rolls south into the deep woods of Shawnee State Forest. The ridges, hollows, and river valleys here are part of the same geological story, shaped by the same forces, walked by the same indigenous peoples, and carrying the same echoes. The cosmology surrounding Serpent Mound doesn't end at the earthwork. It continues into the hill country of southern Ohio, where the Shawnee once traveled, hunted, and held ceremony. Episode 9 follows that thread into the forest, where the land still remembers. We pick up the thread from Episode 8, Serpent Mound, Lights Over the Ancient Serpent, and follow it deeper into Shawnee State Forest, a place where history, silence, and mystery meet. Walk with me into the deep woods. If you're watching on YouTube or TikTok, please like, subscribe, follow, and share. Your support keeps Road of Echoes moving forward. Let's begin. This is Shawnee country, named for the people who called it home, who knew every spring and hollow in a language we are still learning to read. It has been someone's home for at least 3,000 years. 300 million years ago, a meteorite struck this landscape with force enough to fracture the bedrock for miles. The resulting crater, 5 miles across, formed a unique geological plateau above Brush Creek. Thousands of years later, someone chose that very plateau to build the largest serpent effigy in the world. Whether they knew what had struck there, we cannot say, but they knew the place was marked. The land itself had been broken open and then, impossibly, healed. That quality, that sense of a wound made whole, runs through the entire story of this land. The first people we can identify in this landscape are known to archaeologists as the Adena, a name taken from an Ohio governor's estate where their mounds were first studied, not any word they used for themselves. They lived here between roughly 500 BC and 100 AD in small, scattered settlements. They hunted deer, elk, bear, and turkey. They gathered hickory nuts, grapes, and pawpaw from the hollows. They cultivated pumpkin, squash, and sunflower in cleared garden plots. What set them apart, what makes them visible across 2,000 years, was what they did with their dead. They built mounds. Conical earthen structures, ranging from a few feet to 30 feet high, were raised over the honored dead and the objects placed with them. Stone tablets carved with geometric designs, copper ornaments hammered into animal shapes, shell beads traded from the Gulf Coast. Those objects tell us something remarkable. These people were connected, through trade, through relationship, to a world far larger than their own hollow in the hills. Their dead were not simply buried. They were honored, in structures meant to last. The mounds are still here. The people who built them are not. After the Adena came a culture of even greater ambition. The Hopewell people, active here from roughly 100 BC to 400 AD, built ceremonial enclosures covering hundreds of acres, earthen walls aligned to the movements of the sun and moon. Their trade network reached from the Rocky Mountains to the Gulf of Mexico, bringing obsidian, copper, mica, and shark's teeth into the Ohio hills. Hopewell artisans worked these materials into objects of extraordinary beauty: effigy pipes, hammered copper headdresses, mica cutouts of human hands. By any measure, they were a civilization at its height, one that had no parallel in the ancient Americas north of Mexico. In Adams County, on the meteor-struck plateau above Brush Creek, an ancient people built the largest serpent effigy in the world. The Great Serpent Mound stretches 348 feet, more than a quarter mile, across the bluff top, its body winding in 7 great curves, its tail coiling in a triple spiral, its open jaws aimed toward the setting sun on the summer solstice. Scholars debate which culture built it, Adena, Hopewell, or the later Fort Ancient people. But there is no debate about what it represents, an act of immense collective intention, hundreds of people working together, moving tons of earth by hand to write something in the landscape that they meant to last. It has lasted. Whatever it said, it is still saying it. Between 1000 and 1750 AD, a new culture emerged in the Ohio River Valley, the Fort Ancient people, who built their villages on river terraces and farmed the rich bottomlands. They were hunters and agriculturalists, potters and traders, their communities stretching across southern Ohio, northern Kentucky, and West Virginia. They are among the ancestors of the Shawnee. When the first European traders pushed into the Ohio Valley in the 1700s, they found a landscape that had been continuously occupied, managed, and shaped by human hands for more than 2,000 years. The land was not wilderness. It was someone's garden. The Shawnee are an Algonquian-speaking people whose ancestral homeland was almost certainly centered here, this river, these hills. Their name is sometimes translated as Southerner, though the direction they moved across the centuries was rarely predictable. By the late 1600s, devastated by smallpox epidemics and threatened by raids from the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Shawnee had dispersed across the continent. East to Pennsylvania and Maryland, south to the Carolinas, west toward the Mississippi. They were a people in motion, carrying their identity through catastrophe. In the 1730s, they came home. The Shawnee were organized as 5 distinct divisions: Chalagoutha, Macocha, Pecowe, Kispoko, and Hathawekala, each with responsibilities to the whole. The Chalagoutha held political leadership. The Macocha oversaw health and medicine. The Kispoko provided war chiefs. Each division was further organized into name groups: wolf, bear, turtle, turkey, panther, whose spiritual identities gave structure to Shawnee life. This was not a simple society. It was intricate, deliberate, and deeply ordered. A civilization that had survived dispossession and found its way back to its own river. The Shawnee world was not divided between the natural and the supernatural. Those categories did not exist. The world was inhabited by beings seen and unseen, benevolent and dangerous. The Kinipiqua, the great horned serpent, lurked in the deep water of rivers and lakes, drawing humans under. The Emzai-Pissi, the water panther, a cougar dragon of the depths, could shatter a canoe with one stroke of its tail. Above, the Nenimki, the thunderbirds, battled the water creatures across the sky, their wing beats creating thunder, their eyes flashing lightning. And in the hollows and the wooded ridges, the little people, nature spirits who lived in trees and rocks, were blamed when things went missing, when travelers became lost, when the forest felt undeniably like something was watching. An interpretive panel at Serpent Mound today shares the Shawnee story of the King of the Serpents, a powerful being whose form is written into the bluff above Brush Creek. Whether the Shawnee built the mound or inherited it from those who came before, they recognized it. They gave it meaning that connected to the deepest threads of their cosmology. In 2021, Shawnee descendants returned to Serpent Mound for the summer solstice, the first time in nearly 2 centuries, to stand at the jaws of the great serpent as the sun set exactly where it had always set, exactly where whoever built this monument had always intended. The alignment held. It had been holding for 1,000 years. At the confluence of the Scioto and Ohio rivers, the Shawnee built what grew to become a city of some 1,200 people by 1750, the Lower Shawnee Town, a diplomatic hub where Shawnee, Delaware, Seneca, and other peoples came together. Women tended fields of corn, beans, squash, and sunflowers on the river terraces. Men hunted the same deer paths and mineral licks that their Fort Ancient predecessors had used for centuries. In the council house, leaders from all 5 divisions made decisions together. This was a people governing themselves with care, on land they knew as intimately as a face. Into the crisis of American expansion, rose one of the most remarkable leaders in American history. Tecumseh, a Shawnee war chief, born near present Springfield, Ohio, traveled thousands of miles calling on native nations from the Great Lakes to the Gulf to stand together. "No tribe has the right to sell," he told American negotiators, even to each other, much less to strangers. "Sell a country? Why not sell the air, the great sea, as well as the earth?" He was killed in 1813, fighting with the British in Canada, far from the river he had been trying to protect. With him died the last organized resistance. In September of 1832, the last band of Shawnee people began the long walk out of Ohio. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 had given legal cover to what force had begun. From Lewistown in Logan County, they departed for Indian Territory, present-day Oklahoma. They carried what they could. They left behind everything else: their towns, their fields, their council houses, their mounds, their springs, the graves of their ancestors. Chief Glenna Wallace of the Eastern Shawnee tribe, speaking nearly 2 centuries later, said simply, "Ohio will always be our homeland." The land did not forget them. They have not forgotten the land. The Kinapiqua is not gone. In the Shawnee tradition, the great horned serpent cannot be killed, only acknowledged, only respected, only remembered. The mound above Brush Creek has outlasted every human structure built in this valley. The meteor crater beneath it has outlasted the mound builders, the Shawnee, the settlers, and every map that has ever tried to contain this landscape in a grid of lines and numbers. The serpent's jaws still point toward the summer solstice sunset. The deep water of the Ohio still moves below. Some things in this land are older than memory, and will be here long after memory is done. The Shawnee were gone from Ohio by 1832. Within a decade, the first European settlers had been in these hills for 40 years, building a different kind of world from the same land. That story, of arrival and ambition, of hollow communities and one-room schools, of the slow exhaustion of a landscape asked to give more than it could, is told in Part 2. Thank you for listening to Road of Echoes and for supporting this journey into the deep history of Southern Ohio. Your interest and encouragement keep these stories alive. When you're ready, continue with Part 2, where we follow the next thread of Shawnee Forest whispers and uncover even more voices from the hill country. If you're watching on YouTube or TikTok, please like, subscribe, follow, and share this episode. Your support helps Road of Echoes grow and keeps these stories alive.